Hello, everyone. Welcome to another, video here on N8N AI automation, everything put together. Specifically, this video is going to be about N8N and MySQL. That's right. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying our best, especially with some of these videos, to bring everything in-house where it's all sitting on that one server, just on your server. Right. And so that's going to help you to save, some money, some time. There's a lot of things that this is going to help you out with. So why even do that? Right. There's things like Airtable. There's other services out there. Why not just use them? Absolutely. And that's completely your choice. What's going to happen, though, is that every single time you're using it, currently the prices are low. A lot of these AI companies are being subsidized. They've got funding, all that other stuff. Pretty soon, the prices are going to continue to increase. If you remember when Netflix first came out, Netflix came out, everyone's getting, some good prices. I remember I used to pay like $7.99, which is like $8 here in Canada per month. Today, we're paying like $22. If you went to get an Uber ride back in the day, people were getting them at like $3 a ride and stuff like that. Today, people will pay a lot more. And so, as AI continues to evolve and expand, a lot of these services that we're used to, once we're several years will go by and pretty soon the prices are going to rise. You've got other things like OpenAI, which is going to charge you money. You've got all the different LLMs that are charging you money, all kinds of APIs. And so the goal of this video and several of these videos that are going to start coming out is to keep everything right inside of your server. So here's the 3 key areas that you want to do this for, okay, and why you want to do this. So 3 reasons on why you want to do this are money. Every time you make a call to any of these APIs, it's costing you money. All right. Today, it's costing you money where they might have given you a credit. Tomorrow, it's going to cost you more. Time. It still takes time to, call out to these servers. And depending on where the server is, sure, you may not notice it on the smaller amount, it's not a big deal. You might do one call and the server is on the other side of the world. But as things start growing and you've got more automations, you got more stuff actually running, well, now those calls are going to be costly and it's going to take more time, especially if that, other side has to do some processing. Okay. And then lack of control. If that service goes down, what do you do? And if you're dealing with customers, you want to have control where you can shut things on and off. You can't sit there and wait for, OpenAI or Airtable to kind of be like, okay, well, we're back up now and your customer has now lost out. So these 3 areas are the reason why we want to kind of bring something in-house where it is on your server. And so in this video, we're going to be starting that whole entire series, starting off with MySQL, and we're going to put that right on our N8N DigitalOcean server. Now, of course, we're using DigitalOcean, so it is another service, but at least I still have control over that server. I can turn it on and off. I can, understand what's going on. I can go into that server and kind of, fix things. Whereas if it's another API provider, I can't do anything, right? It's pretty much just waiting for them, maybe sending out a ticket saying, hey, support staff, can you help me out? All right. So for the long term, we want to start planning from now and setting these things up. So in this video, we're going to be actually learning how to integrate MySQL into N8N so that you actually have it within your own system. All right, so let's get started. All right, so here we are. This is, my N8N, and, right now it doesn't have any MySQL stuff. I mean, I could actually just trigger it manually here. And, I'll take a look and I'll say, okay, well, I could type in MySQL here. So I know that I've got a node for it. You can insert rows and table, execute, so on and so forth. Let's just put in, execute an SQL query. All right, well, it's going to say, where's the credential? If I click on create new credential, I don't have MySQL set up yet, right? So I need to understand localhost, MySQL, user, password. This doesn't exist. So we want to set it up so it is actually local in the system. All right. But right now, localhost, well, we are inside of a Docker, system, which is on a DigitalOcean server, right? So literally you've got the DigitalOcean server. All right. Then you've got a Docker, which is within that actual system. And so I have to actually set up MySQL within that. It's not as easy as just simply installing, which it will work. If you've seen my FFmpeg tutorial, the first one, that's exactly what I did. I just installed it on the Docker image. It works, but then the second you actually upgrade your Docker installation, or you do a Docker compose down, Docker compose up, it's going to basically destroy everything because it's looking for that Docker YAML file where it's going to reconstruct everything. And then on top of that, you need persistence. Like, how are you going to make sure that information that's sitting on your MySQL server doesn't get destroyed when you reset that actual, Docker file? And so in this video, we're going to focus on setting up a MySQL implementation on your N8N Docker install and making sure that the actual data stays and persists, even if you actually, upgrade your Docker system by doing a Docker compose down, Docker compose up, the whole entire thing. All right. So let's dive in and actually start setting that up. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go into your droplet inside of your DigitalOcean, and you're going to select console here, and we're going to dive into our console view. And so now we are here in the console of my actual N8N DigitalOcean server. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to first find out where is my actual Docker YAML file located. So first we're going to do cd space ... and then hit enter. So now you see that we've got this little slash here. It shows me that I'm in the root folder. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do ls, and that's going to list me, all the different folders there. It's going to be inside of OPT, so I'm going to do cd OPT. All right, ls again. And now you're going to see your actual Docker file, and it is N8N Docker Caddy. So let's actually cd into that, cd N8N Docker Caddy, hit enter. Okay, now when I do an ls there, you can see that we see our Docker compose YAML file. All right, we need to edit that and start working on that. All right. So let's dive right in and let's start working in the Docker YAML file. So type in nano docker -compose.yml and hit enter. All right. So inside of here, we've got several different parts here that are going on. We've got the services caddy, and you can see everything down to here is caddy. Then you've got the service for N8N, which is what we use. And everything all the way down here is N8N. And then you've got volumes, which are your external volumes where, information will be stored. All right. And this here is like, all of your N8N, automations. Well, the reason why they don't get destroyed is because you actually have places where the data is being stored. All right. And every time you put a, Docker compose down, Docker compose up, it's not destroying all of that data. It's still there somewhere, and it's still able to upgrade the system. All right. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be adding in another service for MySQL. All right. So if we come on down here, we're going to go down underneath the N8N. All right. And I'm going to hit enter a few times here. And specifically, we're going to hit space. And now this next third service is MySQL. All right. And now we're going to hit colon. Okay. And as you can see, it turns green. And we'll just move this down a bit so that I could see it there a little bit more. And so now we're going to type in here, we're just going to hit enter, and we're going to go right till about here. That's about 4 spaces in. And we're just going to type in image. All right. And we're going to use MySQL 8. So MySQL colon 8.0. All right. And then we're going to do the next line here. We're going to type in container name. All right. And that's going to be equal to N8N MySQL. All right. That's what we'll call it. Makes it a little easier for us. Next is restart, and we're going to put always. All right. And as you can see in the other ones, it's also the same, right? So as you can see here, restart always in N8N. Caddy's a little bit different, but for N8N, we want to restart N8N and we want to restart our MySQL, right? Because if we don't, then it's not going to start MySQL every single time, and you'll have to restart it manually, sort of thing. So this tells it that every single time you do a reset of Docker, restart your MySQL as well. All right. Next, we want to set up an environment. Okay. And we need to now set up an actual, root password, database, user, and your own MySQL password. So let's actually go over here till about V there. That's about 6 spaces, I believe, or 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6. So 6 spaces in, and we're going to type in uppercase MySQL _root _password. All right. And then we're just going to create our own password. All right. I can call this anything here. I'm just going to say a password here. All right. You guys are seeing it kind of hidden right now. That's because I'm, it's a video. So type in a password here that you're going to use. All right. And now the next item here is going to be MySQL _database. All right. And that's going to be N8NDB. So we're just going to create a database called N8NDB All right, and so you can make anything you want, but I'm just putting these inside of here. All right, next we're going to use MySQL user. So MySQL user. So who's the user, right? So you can create a username. I'm just going to create something called N8N user. All right, and now finally we're going to get MySQL password. Okay, this is different from the root password. Okay, this is the one that actually allows you to get into this, actual MySQL itself. So just put a password in. I'm going to create another password. You could choose anything that you want. All right. So now we're going to go with 4 lines in, and we're going to put in something called ports. Okay. So this is how, it's going to actually access your MySQL. And I'm going to move this down here. All right. And we're going to put a dash here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to put inside a space and quotes 3307:3306. Okay. So that's kind of like the port range that we're going to put in. Next, you're going to hit enter again, and we're going to go in about 4, and we're going to type in volumes. All right. With a colon, hit enter. And then again, what we're going to do is we're going to go in about 6, and you're going to put a dash, and you're going to type in MySQL_data, colon, and now we're going to put an actual location here. So /var/lib/MySQL. All right. So we've now set that up. So now let's actually clear some of these items here, bring the volume stuff back now. All right. And we've got 1 space in between. That's fine. All right. So now we have to work on the volume section. So, where's our data going to be stored? And as you can see, we've got MySQL_data. Well, we need to put that inside of the volumes as well so that we actually store our data. So over here, all we're going to do inside of volumes, put 2 spaces and just type in the same MySQL_data. So MySQL_data. All right. And then you're going to put a colon. And that is pretty much it. Now, all we have to do is save this by hitting Control and O. So Control O and then hit enter. Okay. So now our actual Docker file is ready. Then you're going to hit Control X to exit out of that. Now we have to do a Docker compose down to shut down the system, and then a Docker compose up -D. All right. So let's do that now. So let me just clear this here. All right. So Docker compose down. That's going to shut down our Docker implementation. All right. So now we're going to do Docker compose up -D. So Docker compose up -D. Hit enter. All right, so now you're seeing this actually pulling in the latest MySQL. As you can actually see that there, MySQL is coming in. So it's going to download and install it. And now you will actually have MySQL on your actual Docker image. And you can do, a Docker compose down, Docker compose up. You can reset your server. It shouldn't matter. It should always be there. And so that's what we're going to see now. There we go. It's getting our N8N ready. Okay, and with that, we should now have our Docker with MySQL ready. And so now there's certain things that you want to, actually know. And that is, your host, your port, your user, your password, and the database. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to put that into our N8N install. And here we are. Okay. So our N8N is working. I could go back and see all my stuff is there. So I didn't lose like anything. So that's good. All right. And now what we're going to do here is we're going to set up our MySQL. So I'm going to hit tab, MySQL. All right. And then I'm just going to click on execute an SQL query. All right. So now over here, I'm going to go to my credential, create new credential. All right. So now my host is going to be MySQL. All right. My database is going to be N8NDB. My username is going to be the user that I had put in. So in this case here, it's N8N user. All right. And now you're going to type in the password that you had from earlier that you put in. All right. And for port, keep it as 3306. We're not doing any of the SSL items. And you should be good. So let's hit save. And it's tested and the connection was successful. We now have access to MySQL on our N8N server, and it'll work all the time, thus replacing the requirement for things like Airtable and other competitors. Now, of course, if you want to use Airtable, that's completely fine, but this is more advanced. If you know MySQL, if you know how to use databases in SQL, then I would actually recommend this over things like Airtable, because first and foremost, it's right on the server. You're going to have, no money being spent. It's going to be fast because it's right on that server itself. You don't have to like worry about an actual API call going out. And then on top of that, you've got unlimited access, and you decide how that server works, and you can create anything you want. So we're actually just going to do an actual full SQL example here. So now that we've got everything connected and everything, is pretty much up and running, we need to now do things in steps. All right. So first we need to tell, MySQL to use a certain, actual database. So let's first tell it to use a certain database. Let's do that right now. So we're going to say here, use N8N DB. All right. And that's telling us that we want to use this. So every single time you're about to, call any MySQL command, you're going to do that first. Okay. And this, we're just going to call the, initialization. So MySQL init. All right. So that tells us like, hey, use this database. And there could be any database you want, but this is what you want to do first. All right. Now we want to add a table to that database. So the next thing is we're going to take another MySQL node. Okay. So here we go. MySQL, just like that. And we're going to execute another query here. All right. So now at this point, we're going to create a table here. So I'm going to just go inside of here and I'm going to type in create table. We're just going to call it test table, just like that. And then we're going to just open up in brackets here. We're going to have something called ID. It's going to be an integer. We're going to auto increment it. So auto increment, there it is. And primary key is what we're going to do. Now, if you don't know MySQL, then yeah, this is actually something that I recommend you actually learn. It is a very, very powerful way of doing things, but this is what Airtable does. Right. So this is like equivalent to you creating a column inside of Airtable, right? So that's exactly what you're doing. You've created a column here, 2 columns called ID and name, and we've created a table. All right. So now if I hit save here and I just connect this all up, I'm going to run this entire workflow here. And as you see, now we've got success true. And the reason why that happened is first, we've got to actually select the database. Okay. So if we don't select the database, we don't know what we're actually selecting. So it can't create that table for us, but now it did. And we got success true. All right. So now at this point, if I actually try and run this again, it's going to fail because the table already exists. So there we go. I'm running it and you see the fail. Okay. And what we need to do is we need to actually put in another set of, items here. And that is just checking if this exists or not. So I'm going to put this inside of the code now. So create table if not exists. All right. Test table. That way, if it doesn't exist, then it'll create it. Otherwise, if it does exist, it'll just skip over and we'll still get a success result. All right. So let's save that there. And now we're going to start that again. Let's test this. We got success true. All right, so now that we've got the table and we're just going to move this off to the side here, the next thing is we have to put some information inside of it. So let's go ahead and create another MySQL link here. So MySQL. And at this point now, we actually can access all these functions now. So if I want to insert a row inside of a table, all I have to do is just click on this here. So insert row into table, just like that. And now if I click on select the table, you're going to see that test table exists. So now I can put in information. Now, chances are you don't want to auto map it unless you actually know your exact data. So I'm going to do this map each, thing manually, and we're going to add in each value. So in this case, ID or name, and you see, my actual, columns are there. So I'll choose, let's say ID is going to be automatic. So I don't even have to worry about that, but I'm just going to type in name and I'm going to put in here Solomon. All right. And now if I actually run this entire flow here, so I'll just connect this guy up here. All right. Test the workflow. All right. And as you can see, success true. And Solomon is now actually inside of the table, and I can add even more names. But now let's say I want to get some data from this database or from this actual table. So now from here, I can actually go in and I could say, hey, you know what? Let me get this information. So instead of adding something inside of here, we can name this properly here, so just add a name. So add data. All right. Now we want to get the data. So I'm just going to put in here MySQL. All right. And now I want to actually get rows. So select rows from a table. All right. Let me just move this over here and there we go. So I want to select from the test table. All right. And I want to get everything. That's it. So that's all I have to do. So literally I can just test the workflow and it's now brought back the information. There it is. All right. So now I've got a database that I can start using. All right. And now from here, you can grow and expand. You can add tables. You can remove tables. You can delete items. You can add items. It gets really, really, straightforward from this point onwards to create, whatever you want and have your own, in-house database system rather than, going out to an external API. All right, so there you have it. As you can see, you can set up your own MySQL system for your N8N right within your own server. You're going to save time. You don't have to worry about it going out to an API and calling back and forth. And if that server is down or how far that server is around the world, it wouldn't matter because everything's happening right in-house on that own server, right? On your very own server. So you don't have to worry about that, distance or how long it's going to take. You're going to save money. You have unlimited calls now, literally. You don't have to worry about hitting an API endpoint every single time with something like Airtable all the time. And if you know your MySQL, then this is like, huge. You've now got unlimited access to grow whatever you want. And you don't have to worry about control. You don't have to worry about that service going down. You control the database, and that allows you to, turn things on and off. And so that is a huge thing, especially as you're building for clients in the future or even for yourself. All right. As time goes on, remember these APIs, these, external apps that we are using, they're just going to get more costly. Well, if you enjoyed that lesson today, please go ahead and join my school page. That's right. Click on the link below and come and join a whole bunch of incredible AI automators just like yourself who are learning, who are growing, who are running AI agencies, and are expanding their knowledge of AI and automation. I truly hope that this video helped you out, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. Take care. Bye-bye.